Hey everybody, it's Brian for Brian's Vinyl Records, and it is Monday, which means it is time for another installment of Vinyl Editions. So stick around and I'll show you what came in over the last week on vinyl for my collection. Alright, welcome back. So, like I said, it is Monday, so we do vinyl editions on Monday. And I'm going to call this one the Preamble to the Oh, My Wallet Hurts edition, because this coming Friday, the Prince Estate is issuing another set of vinyl that they haven't been released in a long time. So there are 3 albums coming out, and one of them is a 6 LP set, so it's going to cost a pretty penny. I'm talking about the album Emancipation, which I bought when I was in high school and listened to a lot as I was growing up, and really enjoyed that album. So when I saw it was announced, even though the price tag was just ridiculously high, I had to pre-order it, and so it's going to hurt the wallet. But also there's a few other things coming out on Friday as well that I really wanted. Aerosmith's 9 Lives is being reissued. Another Prince album, Chaos and Disorder, is being reissued. Another Prince album, Versace Experience, is being reissued, which I did not pre-order that one. I'll pick that one up later probably. But it's just going to be an expensive Friday. So I went a little light. This is probably the first week in a while where I didn't have any pre-orders coming in, which is probably a good thing since I got a row of them coming this Friday. So that being said, before we start with the albums, I do want to mention that I put out a couple videos over the weekend. The first one being a VCLT package that I received from Dan at Dan's Vinyl Channel. So thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. You can check that out on my channel. The other one being a spotlight on Black Sabbath. So if you're a fan of Black Sabbath, I did a spotlight video on what I have in my collection from that band. I try to add some tidbits from each album in there as well when I find them. So check that out if you're into that kind of thing. Artist Spotlight, Black Sabbath, also in the archives. And lastly, I do want to remind everyone that I am running a contest right now that runs to the end of the month of September here. So you have until September 30th to submit your video, and the contest is basically on music of our childhoods, right? So I asked to see 1 or more albums from elementary school, middle school, high school, and then post-high school or post-secondary school if you went to college, or just something from those years right after high school. It's kind of fun to watch and see people's musical journeys as they grew up. I know mine started with like top 40 pop, Michael Jackson in the early days, and by the time I graduated high school I was into like hardcore heavy metal, death metal, grunge, and college I kind of went to country. So it's real fun to see people's journey through different genres of music as they kind of grow up and get influenced in different ways from friends and all that kind of stuff. So if you're into that kind of thing, please go ahead and check my channel for that contest. If you want to enter that contest, you have until September 30th to submit a video and leave a comment on my contest video letting me know that you have submitted your entry so that I can go and watch it and include you in the contest drawing. So check that out too. Thank you. But let's get into this week's vinyl editions. We're going to start with some used records that I picked up. I went to one of my favorite places down in the valley, and I went there for a specific album, which I'll show you at the end here of this part of the video. But I also, when I'm there, I have to peruse and look through the records, because you're at a record store. That's what you do, right? And I found some that I really liked, but I ended up leaving behind. But I did look through their dollar bin and found some good stuff in there. So if you remember the last 99-cent sale, or a couple 99-cent sales ago that I went to, I found an album that wasn't in the sleeve. And that was this album here, Loverboy's Keep It Up. Instead, I found Loverboy's Get Lucky album, which I already got, and that one wasn't in the best shape anyway, so it became one of my genre placeholders for my collection over here. But this one actually had the right album in it, and it was $1. So I ended up getting lucky with that, and I have this album finally. Looking forward to listening to Keep It Up by Loverboy, $1. Also in the dollar bin, I found this album. So this one is not as big for Fleetwood Mac fans, and it gets some flack, I guess, but I've never heard it, and so I'm excited to listen to it. I'm really into the pre-Buckingham Nicks era of Fleetwood Mac. I've got a lot of that in my collection, and so I knew I was going to pick this up at some point. So for $1, you can't go wrong. It is a gatefold, so it has the full gatefold here, and after cleaning it up, it's actually in pretty good shape. So for $1, I think I walked away with a good deal here. So we'll give it a spin and see what I think of Fleetwood Mac's Penguin. This next one, I'm pretty pumped. I saw this in the dollar bin. I remember the last 99-cent sale I went to at Mill City Sound. I was flipping through and found this record, but inside there wasn't a record. So I was pretty bummed because it would have been a really good find for 99 cents. So when I saw this in the dollar bin at Down the Valley and checked it out and saw that, hey, the record is in there, I was pumped. This is Big Brother and the Holding Company, Cheap Thrills. Now, if you don't know, Big Brother and the Holding Company was the band of Janis Joplin. Right. This is a really cool album. It's gatefolded, and it has the song Piece of My Heart on it, which is one of her more famous tunes. So I'm really excited that I found this for $1. To me, that's a surprise. So Big Brother and the Holding Company, Cheap Thrills. Excited to give this a listen to. Excited about that a lot. And now the album that I went there for. So this is a personal grail to me. It may not be a holy grail to a lot of people, but for me, Offspring is a band that I have a little bit of history with, and the history basically is that we played a little bit of it in high school, but then when they released Ixnay on the Ombre, my brother bought that album on CD and brought it home, and we both sat and listened to it because we were both fans of the band. And just a few weeks after that, he tragically passed away in a car accident. So it was the last thing that my brother and I listened to together. And after that, I kind of, I obviously heard a lot of Americana and some of the other tracks that came out afterwards, but I never really followed them as much after that until probably mid to late 2000s, when a buddy that I worked with gave me a bunch of MP3s that had a lot of Offspring albums on it. And after listening through that, I really gravitated towards this particular album and really enjoyed it. And so I bought it on CD. And when I started collecting vinyl, it became one of those albums that I would like to have on vinyl. But you just never saw it anywhere or found it. And when you did, it was kind of expensive. So I just put it on the back burner. And then one day during the record store crawl, we were going through and looking at the albums that were in the high dollar section at Down the Valley, and this one was in there, and it was a little over what I like to pay for an album. I do have a set price that one day I'll get into when I talk about Holy Grails on a video. I have a set price that I like to stay with and not spend more on. There are certain exceptions, of course, to that I will make if it's an album that's deeply personal to me or something I really, really, really want. I will spend a little bit over that, but I don't get crazy. I don't spend a lot of money on albums. So this one was just a little over my price budget, and I decided that I was going to let it stay. And I went back again a couple months later and looked at it again, and again decided it was going to stay. Well, I had a conversation with a couple people in some of the Facebook groups that I'm in, and, just decided that you only live once. They're spending a lot of money on grails that I will never spend that kind of money on an album unless somehow I come into a lot of money, which, let's face it, that's probably not going to happen. But, I thought, this is just so few dollars over what my max is. I'm just going to go do it. So I went there and I picked it up, and I'm talking about this album. This is the Offspring's Splinter album. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with this album. It's a really good album, and there's a song on here called Spare Me the Details that I laugh at every time I listen to. It's a great tune, a fun tune, and so I just decided I was going to pick this up. I looked on Discogs, and the median price on this, I think, was like $60 or $70, and the last ones that sold were right around $80 to $90. The ones online were $90 to $120, and on eBay even the cheapest one I saw that sold was for $75. So I think I got a really good deal on this, and so I'm gonna be excited about that. It's in really good shape. You can see cover's in very good shape. The album itself cleaned up extremely well. It looks like it's pretty flawless. This kind of bugs me. I like hype stickers. I think they're cool, and what I tend to do with hype stickers is I will cut them off of the cellophane, because I don't like having the cellophane on my records, and I will slide them inside here to keep them. But this person glued it on the back here, which it's a minor thing, but I think that it just ruins the cover. But oh well, because you don't play the cover, right? So whatever. So Offspring Splinter, real excited to have this. So that's my used items for this week. And now let's get into some of the deals that I found on Amazon that I couldn't pass up. This first one is an album by Bon Jovi. This is called What About Now? It's an album I didn't really know about beforehand. I think it came out around 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And I hadn't heard it before, but the price dropped from like $30 down to $16. So I thought I'll get it. I've been collecting a lot of Bon Jovi's catalog lately, so you'll see an artist spotlight coming on that. And so this is one I didn't have, and the price was right, so I picked it up. It's another nice, pretty gatefold. Really good, cool graphics on here. There's a song called Because We Can, which I really like, and Army of One, which I really like. And in all, it's a Bon Jovi album, so if you like Bon Jovi, you're going to enjoy this. I thought it was really good. Liked it quite a bit, and glad to have it in my collection. This next one fills a hole of something I needed here. This is Soundgarden's Super Unknown album, which is absolutely fantastic. It's got Fell on Black Days, it's got Spoon Man, and it's got Black Hole Sun on it. Just a real classic album from Soundgarden. It was the follow-up to the Bad Motor Finger album, which kind of broke the band into the mainstream with grunge taking off. So real excited to add this. Again, this is another one of those gatefold albums, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. So excited to have that. And last but certainly not least here, this is an album that I'm really pumped to have in my collection. It's a soundtrack album, and I've been really getting into soundtracks lately and collecting soundtracks. And it's an album that I had as a kid on CD and always wanted to get on vinyl, but you just never saw it anywhere. And when I found out they reissued it, and I think it was 2017 and or 16, it looks like, and I looked around, I couldn't find it anywhere, and then someone posted it in one of the groups of a place that was selling them, but I didn't want to buy it from there because nobody had experience buying from there, and I'm really tentative on buying from just anywhere random online. And then a buddy of mine from that group posted it as well on the group board that he bought it. And so I sent him a message and asked him where he purchased it from. He showed me where he got it from. They had one left in stock, so I picked it up. Since he had a good experience with it, I figured I would too. And so now I own this soundtrack. This is Tales from the Crypt's Demon Knight soundtrack. This is a heavy metal awesome soundtrack. Megadeth Diadems is on here, which is the song I really gravitate towards on this album. Big Megadeth fan. But you got Ministry, you got Pantera's Cemetery Gates is on here. You've got Hey Man, I Shot by Filter on here. Sepultura's on here. Rollins Band. I mean, just a plethora of great heavy metal music is on this album. It's a real fantastic listen, and I'm super excited to have it. And what's really, really cool is it comes on this really sweet marbled kind of green vinyl. It's just super cool. So real excited. I got this. Pumped about it. So there you go. That is this week's vinyl editions. If you liked this, please leave a thumbs up and a comment below. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. That would be awesome. Love to have you aboard. And yeah, so until next time, keep spinning vinyl, friends.